Anthony Richardson benched by the Indianapolis Colts. The announcement made today by Colts head coach Shane Steichen. Joe Flacco going to start Sunday night on the road in Minnesota against the Vikings and presumably moving forward for the remainder of the season. Now, we can have a conversation about what this means long-term for the Indianapolis Colts and how it only makes sense to bench Richardson if they're done with him, period. Which I guess is in the range of outcomes. But, Joe, the whole thing with Anthony Richardson, and this is not the point of a betting show, but it's interesting, right? The whole point with Richardson when they took him 4th overall was he wasn't ready. He didn't have the reps. He needed to play in order to get better. So, I understand that he's bad and that his attitude sucks, but, this was the whole thing. He was never going to walk on the field and be Patrick Mahomes immediately. You needed to give him reps, which tells me that they just might be DUN done with Anthony Richardson. And maybe they think he's a sunk cost. And he's been bad in these games. He's also not running. I don't understand what the hell they're doing with Anthony Richardson. It had to be the post-game comments that were the death knell. I have no inside information to tell you that that's the case. That is just my opinion. I think it's probably a really good, educated guess. So we can leave the Richardson stuff. That's for another show, what's happening, moving forward with him and his career. And 8 dynasty fantasy football leagues that I'm in where I have him, which is a total disaster. It's really bad. So now it is time for all of us to once again go wacko for Flacco. And the betting market has gone wacko for Flacco. Minnesota yesterday and this was 6.5 on Sunday night. Yesterday it was 6. Minnesota 6 at home against the Colts on Sunday night. Now we are off 6 into 5.5. So people are like, it's only a half-point move. It's a pretty big move. 6 is one of the key numbers, not the most key number. 5's a dead number. It's a pretty important move off of 6 down to 5.5. So bettors interested in Indianapolis with Joe Flacco under center, not Anthony Richardson. How can anyone disagree with this? How can anyone think that's not the right move in the betting market? Right now, Flacco, at his advanced age, is way better than Anthony Richardson, which doesn't mean that Richardson can't be better than Flacco moving forward. But right now, Flacco is so much better than Richardson, and you watch the offense, and it's night and day. Honestly, it's minus all the creepy stuff off the field. This is like Jameis Winston playing for the Browns instead of Deshaun Watson. That's what this is like. The offense is unlocked. They can't do anything with Anthony Richardson at quarterback. And, he seems like a really, nice, smart young man. I hope he finds success. But, it's brutal right now. So they're making the right move starting Joe Flacco. Also, let's go Josh Downs and Michael Pittman for fantasy football. Joe Flacco, get these guys going, please. Quick betting thought for Sunday. Femi and I will talk about the side next hour on the game. I love the over. It's 46. Joe Flacco has seen everything in his time as an NFL quarterback. We talked about it last Friday after the Vikings-Rams game where Matthew Stafford tore up the Vikings defense, a week after Jared Goff tore up the Vikings defense. I think Joe Flacco is going to just absolutely shred the Brian Flores defense, which we think has gotten solved. So I think the Colts are going to be able to score in this game. And then on the flip side, okay, Gus Bradley and the Colts defense did pretty well against oatmeal for brains Bobby Slowick, who we'll get to in a moment. You think Kevin O'Connell is going to get stopped by Gus Bradley? Justin Jefferson might have 200 yards on Sunday night. 46 is a ridiculous number. A ridiculous number for the total in this game. I think it needs to be 47.5 or more. 47, one of the key numbers when we talk about totals. I love the over as long as we're sitting below 46 and a half. I'd even bet over 47. I think you push it worst Sunday night with the Colts and the Vikings. Indy now plus 125 to make the playoffs at BetMGM, minus 150 to miss. And it's unfortunate that the Colts lost on Sunday because that loss to Houston makes it extremely unlikely that the Colts can win the AFC South. Indy is now 4-4. Houston is 6-2. But in truth, Houston has a 3-game lead on the Colts because Houston has already swept the season series with Indianapolis. So Houston, a 3-game lead in essence right now over Indy. So Houston, I think, is still a likely division champion, a likely AFC South champion. Anthony Richardson to the bench for Indianapolis. I love the over in the game on Sunday night. I'm hoping you agree with me.
Full agreement, and we're not alone because when you were giving your spiel on why you liked the over and talking about Anthony Richardson, this was getting bet. We're now seeing 47 out there, 46.5. So impromptu, it moved here on a Tuesday that the over is getting bet in this game. I think a lot of people seeing the game like how you're seeing it. It should, yeah. It's Kevin O'Connell against a Gus Bradley coach defense. Last week it was Bobby Slowick and what they're doing out there in Houston. Well, here's maybe like the best play caller in the league or the best quarterback coach in the league, and Kevin O'Connell at home indoors. And then, of course, like Flacco, he's going to let it fly. Like Joe Flacco will throw the ball down the field.
You agree with me, right?
Spot.
Like Flacco versus the Flores defense, because like Anthony Richardson's like his brain is going to get broken by the Flores defense, and then like an actual bone is going to get broken. I guess he's going to take some like crazy sack in the game. Like Flacco's going to know exactly what's coming. I'm not saying Flacco's going to like throw for 500 yards in the game, but I mean, How can you not like the Colts a little bit more? How can you not like the over? Justin Jefferson's going to have 200 receiving yards on Sunday night.
Oh, 100. Like I agree with where the betting market went, because that's like where this is like two different, like sort of, I guess looking at it two different ways, because the betting market sees it Flacco better than Anthony Richardson. I think everybody would agree with that. But then like there's like the Colts action of it, like the real life stuff where it's like, what are you doing? So on the betting side of it, like we're having that discussion, 100% Indianapolis should have been bet. I don't know if it should be bet more. Like if it does get bet more, I will get interested in the Minnesota Vikings. The over's getting bet. That makes sense.
4?
I would say like 4.5. 4.5 for 4. Like one of those two. Like if we continue to tick down.
Because right now it's the same. 5.5 and 4.5 is basically the same.
It's all the same, yeah.
So it's like 4. I might be interested in Minnesota at 4.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a pretty decent bounce back spot for the Vikings. Like I thought they just went up against two really good teams in the Rams, which yes, of course I know their record, but like when healthy they're good. And of course the Detroit Lions, probably the best team in the NFC, maybe the best team in the NFL. Some people think so, but I think that now they're going up against this Colts team.
We'll see if Jordan Love plays. On Sunday. Then we can have a conversation.
I need him to play for a lot of awards bets. We're gonna tamp down this Lions thing a little bit. We're gonna tamp this down.
But for me, I think that if Jordan Love plays, I'm gonna like Green Bay in the game, and I'm on record saying that.
Yeah, I mean, I also think just it'll be fun to see them play. I want to see the kind of the litmus test for the Green Bay Packers and the Detroit Lions. I think those are the two best teams right now in the NFC. We all want to see those guys healthy, so nobody wants to see Malik Willis. Like, no offense to him, I know he's been decent, but no, we're good on that one. But for me, it makes sense. But I do think that it gives us an opportunity to bet the over. And then let's see what happens. Because I'm curious to see like if we're going to get more interest on Indianapolis with Joe Flacco, because it's an upgrade going from Richardson to Flacco. If more people like Indianapolis, that's when I'll come in and bet Minnesota. So right now, nothing on the side, but the total is where I think we should be attacking this thing. I agree with you wholeheartedly. Over 46. 100%.
And I would honestly the bet doesn't, I'm saying this with a lot of confidence, the bet does not have to win. Like, they could be 4 red zone turnovers, missed field goals. The game can definitely go under. I'm just saying, I think it's a bet that's very likely to gain value over the week. I think the total's going to go up. I think they might go way over the total in this game. So we talked about Deontay Johnson.
Do you want to do a little sports talk radio real quick? I said, do you want to do a little sports talk radio? Do you think Indianapolis ever goes back to Richardson? I know you said that like you think this might be DUN done. I could see a scenario where they went back to him maybe in like a few weeks or a month if it's not going well with Joe Flacco. This to me seems like it's a nuts decision to bench him right now, just based on like the real life ramifications of this thing.
Well, I mean, I think so. It's like you think about things, right? And like it only makes sense. It would make sense in a couple ways. If the Colts felt like they could like win the division, and maybe they think they're a playoff team, just period. I don't think they can win the division because they're 3 games back of Houston. Because it's not just the 2 games that they're behind in the standings. They also lost, like they got swept in the head-to-head series. So it's either the Colts think that they can actually make a legitimate playoff run, or they have assessed that they are, like, Richardson is a sunk cost, and that could be a combination of on-field. And I have no idea what he's like in the locker room. I've never had a conversation with him. I'm sure he's a good guy. The stuff that he said after the game on Sunday is some of the dumbest stuff I've ever heard anyone say. And the thing is you listen to him talk, he's clearly intelligent. He's not dumb. He's not stupid. Like some people you listen to talking, you're like, this person's a raving idiot. Like Richardson's not dumb, which tells me he's immature. And maybe they're just like, we can't win with this guy right now.